Yeah, I mean, the fragility of this deal is still very evident, albeit a major moment in this conflict potentially ending. Joe Khalil, thank you so much. And as a result of this news that a deal has been reached, we're seeing futures, they are rising as gas prices, those are already falling on the potential of this conflict ending. If you look at early trading, we saw not only markets looking to open up higher ahead of the open, but you got the price of Brent crude, that oil dropping by more than $4, right now sitting at just over $83 a barrel. And for context, that's only $10 or so away from where we were at ahead of this conflict. All right, right now, the national average for regular gas, as a result of that oil coming down, sitting at $4.07. That's down from about a week ago, $4.16, and from a month ago, about $4.52. For more, I want to bring in Heritage Foundation National Defense Fellow, retired Navy captain, and former military diplomat Brent Sadler, and Majid Sadeghpour, political director for the Organization of Iranian American Communities. Thank you both for being here so early this morning. Let's begin, with this breaking news. Majid, let me start with you first. The White House is framing this as a memorandum of understanding, but actually more of a peace deal that's going to end the hostilities in the region for years to come. Is that a fair assessment, particularly at this stage?
I think it is yet another attempt on the part of the free world to compel Iran to change its behavior. And it is a good thing that the hostilities that we had engaged with over the past 3.5 months is hopefully ending. What that will do really will hopefully face the attention on the primary conflict that is going on, which is between the people of Iran, 90 million plus million people of Iran, with the regime. That means that the international community hopefully will pay attention to the enormous amount of carnage that the regime is imparting on the people of Iran, having the greatest execution rate in the world. 80% of all global executions occur by the regime in Iran. And that is why I think it's a good thing that this hostility is ending now. That is why we, more than 100,000 Iranian Americans and supporters of Mayam Rajali, the president-elect of the National Council of Resistance of Iran, are heading to Paris on June 20th, this coming Saturday, to express support for her 10-point plan for a future of Iran, because that's where the attention should be, that conflict between the people of Iran and the regime.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of the plan, Brent, let me ask you this. The details are kind of still trickling in with this agreement between the U.S. and Iran. The White House highlighting some of the points that seem to be contradicting each other from what Iran is highlighting. The White House saying that Iran has agreed to destroy its nuclear material, dismantle its nuclear program. But Iran is saying that it still needs to negotiate that part. And, I think the big question is if there is this conflict between some of the messaging between the two countries, even though there is both sides saying there's a deal, does that last, particularly 60 days from now when we get to the next phase of this?
Yeah, I think we should expect a lot of posturing and leaking from both sides, and perhaps even, third parties who don't want to see this deal go forward or want to try to influence or manipulate it. The bottom line is we don't know exactly the letter, the letter that's been signed or at least agreed to by both parties. And we certainly don't know yet what's going to occur over the next 60 days. What is clear is the fighting for now has stopped. And I think there's an opening there to see what our allies are going to do, specifically our G7 allies are going to do, and promises that they've made in the past that once the fighting stops, they'll start to help support free transit through the Straits of Hormuz. So I think we're on a one-way ticket down on the gas prices. It's a big question about how we'll get to the nuclear part. And I think the longer-term deal is how is the nature of this regime going to change as we go forward in these negotiations?
Yeah, and we know gas prices has been a critical pain point for a lot of Americans and really even globally. Majid, let me ask you this. Another point of disagreement is that Iran says the U.S. is going to be releasing $12 billion in frozen funds once this memorandum of understanding is signed. The U.S., though, saying that it's only going to unfreeze those funds once certain conditions are met. How big of a sticking point could that become?
I think the correct approach is do not trust but verify. I think your guest mentioned earlier The core issue is the regime itself, and we cannot be trusting it. The people of Iran certainly don't trust it. We believe it is incapable of reform, and it must be overthrown. That nature, that core, is a fundamentalist, misogynist, predatory, fascist ideology, and it is not going to change its behavior. And the only way to get rid of this problem for the entirety of the humanity, not just the people of Iran, is to facilitate the change of this regime. That can only occur. And these agreements, unfortunately, will end up being band-aids at the end of the day, because this regime will not change its behavior. It will continue its aggression. Just look at what it's doing inside Iran. And so that change needs to occur by Iranians, by Iranian people, not from abroad. And that is why I mentioned we are going to France to support that platform, that resistance, which is already in existence, by the way.
Yeah, trust but verify, certainly an approach it seems like the administration has indicated they're going to take. Again, the agreement happening or being announced in the last couple of hours here overnight, but it's going to be a couple of days before it's actually signed. We'll continue to follow it. Really appreciate both of you, your time and your insight early this morning. Captain Brent Sadler and Majid Sadeghpour. Thank you.
Thank you, Alicia.
Thank you.